Hey y'all, so I am about to go live in the Flutarian school doing the random Bumblebee, Flight of the Bumblebee hangout because I am now wanting to answer a question from the Flute forum of does Flight of the Bumblebee, is it good practice for diaphragmatic speed and control? I'm not exactly sure what diaphragmatic speed is, except maybe like if you think of a conductor doing a nice speed controlled speed of a crescendo or a decrescendo, that we could have the same sort of speed with our diaphragm, which I think is also could also be described as control. So I just played Flight of the Bumblebee for the first time in a week or two, and I want to play it again with you so that I can show you what I'm thinking about, which is that I do these little breath kicks. I'm trying to answer the question of, from my own experience, is Flight of the Bumblebee good practice for diaphragm control? And I think the answer is going to be yes, but I wanted to check and see how long are these phrases really? Am I really having to take super big breaths and really control the speed at which I exit that air from my embouchure, from the aperture and my embouchure? And what I'm realizing in just playing through the first page is that I use breath kicks like a little hoo, 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 for timing purposes with this tune because it's it's just a giant string of slurred chromatic notes, and if you even and they're super fast, and even if you have really great timing, if you don't make one if you don't like make the downbeat sound like a downbeat, in my experience, I'm going to get lost pretty fast because I can't remember if I'm on note 17 or 25 or whatever. These are like long stretches. So anyway, I'll show you. I'll play it through and show off for you the special version I made for myself that is going to make it possible for me to memorize this in all keys by primarily remembering the where are the parts of it that are the exceptions, where they're not just straight chromatic scale. Please learn your chromatic scale, practice your chromatic scale. It is super duper helpful for solving problems that you are definitely going to experience if you're a flutist and you're improvising. If you don't know this and you're seeing this somewhere for the first time, seeing me for the first time, I'm Vic Wheeler, and I run a community called Flutarians. We are a supportive community of flutists who are improving our improvising. So, being really fluent with your chromatic scale is one of those tips, and that's why I am going to practice it in all 12 keys this year, and also use it as an excuse to practice my high C sharp and maybe D, which are new notes to me. A fourth octave, I guess you could say. Anyway, that's enough blabbering. Let me show it to you. So, here in the Flutarian school, if you just go to school.com, school with a K, or search for school in Google, it'll come right up. And then once you're there, search for Flutarian, or actually, if you just search Flutarian on Google, I'm sure I'll come up now. But this is the place to be, is the Flutarian school, and you can search for Bumblebee up here. So here you can see I have transposed the Flight of the Bumblebee into all 12 keys. So you click here and it takes you to the folder with that. But I'm going to show you this one, the Flight of the Bumblebee in E with marking. So this is the original key it was published in. And you can see here the blue arrows mean, okay, we're going down, and the red arrow means, oh, we're going back up. And it's all chromatic until here. You see this green if you look really closely. Maybe I can make it a little bit bigger. Oh, let me see about this. It says P4. That's a perfect fourth. And down here, major second. Those are the exceptions. Everywhere else on the music where you don't see anywhere else on the music where you see a color other than red or blue, it means it's not a strictly chromatic thing. It's breaking the pattern. Except for here. This part's pretty obvious. I did notice when I was playing this last month that I think it's that spot I was just at. Sorry, forgive me. Oh, this spot right here, where it has the flutter tongue. I notice it's a 16th of a note after this, but I swear every time I hear this in a recording for my whole life, I've just assumed it's the downbeat. And it may honestly be that it's so fast at that point that I can't hear it. Please let me know, professionals out there, or people who are very familiar with professional flutists and how they might be playing this, because uh, I kind of want permission to just play this on the downbeat. So here we go. And forgive me, I will have to scroll. I'm going to move this also so that I can see that extra part of my screen that's normally obstructed by the camera. Breath kicks, that's what we're talking about. Answer to the question, yes, it does take breath control, because I'm looking at this and I'm remembering, where am I going to breathe? Ideally, you take a breath here and you go all the way to here. But I'm not very well practiced at this. I've never performed this. This has just been for fun for me. And this is actually the first time that I've played flute today. So this is a good example of something that I do in my life, and I hope you do in your life too. I encourage you to do in yours if you're not already, and that is play stuff you like. I mean, you don't have to play that exclusively. There's probably some other things you could and should work on, but don't let the fact that the music that's on your stand right now is hard and uncomfortable to practice and study get in the way of the enjoyment of your flute. Do something that's fun, even if it's just for a few minutes. So I'm going to play through this, and after I've done this, I'll probably keep playing some more other stuff. So here we go. Almost there. Halfway there. Let's do that again. I'm not sure if I played it right. Missed that major second. I'm going to start again at the beginning of the line, 93. This is the part where you can rush the song. Okay, let me see if I can do this properly. This is the tricky part, the major second. What do you think? With some practice, with a couple of weeks or months of practice, do you think I could get this up to whatever the expected performance tempo is? I think so. But I was really inspired to do this. I was this idea was inspired in me when I was preparing with, I think his name was Kenneth Grigg. He was my pianist for my senior recital at the High School for Performing and Visual Arts. And we were playing a couple of the Bach flute sonatas. And he said, play it, and now play it in this key. Now transpose. We had to play it. I'm sure I played it in all 12 keys at some point. And no one else in my musical career demanded that of me, but it is super important for playing by ear. So I'm assuming that if you want to improve your improvising, that part of what that means for you is playing by ear. Being able to pick out a melody by ear. And I'm kind of learning to do this already with Flight of the Bumblebee, because when I play it differently than I know it's supposed to sound, I hear it. You heard me pause, go back, and do it again until it's right. And if I really wanted to get this down first in just the original key, I'd be doing a lot of metronome work. I'd be doing a lot of articulation work, because the slurring kind of makes it easier, and when you add the tongue, the additional challenge kind of forces the learning faster. So I would start, and I would keep the metronome just below the point at which I start making mistakes. So I would turn it up until I make mistakes, find that, and then go back a few beats, and then do that progressively until I made it. I don't know how long it would take, but it would take a certain number of hours. And I feel certain that if I did that, the next step of playing it by ear in maybe in another key, like maybe a half step up or a half step down or a fifth away or whatever, that would be easier. So, because I would be able to hear when I was playing something different than what I had basically memorized over all that repetition to be able to play this with excellence. So, another little tiny note on the articulation, I would do it with swung rhythms in addition to straight rhythms. That type of thing, because that also forces the learning, because the short one, you have to learn how to make it even faster. So if you want the link to this, you can send me a message and I'll send it directly to you, or you can find it on your own. Just search Flutarian School with a K, and search Flight of the Bumblebee, and it should come right up. But I would love to hear your progress. Let me know if this is helpful for you, and happy practicing.